Ever wonder if there's a faster and easier way to protect your money offshore? Well, there's one country that is consistently near the top of our list for easy offshore banking. It's super stable, home to some of the best international banks, and the deposit requirements are low enough that basically anyone can bank here. So in this video, I'll share the country and I'll tell you everything that you need to know to quickly and easily bank here yourself in 2026. Now, for context, we do help people open accounts here every month. And that's because this place ticks all the boxes in terms of what we look for in a good banking hub. Well-run international banks, reputable bank regulators, it's not on any blacklists, and it has a strong banking culture with very experienced bankers. Plus, English is the official language, which is really tough to find in low deposit jurisdictions like this one. Now, I'm talking about the Isle of Man. But to bank here, you need three things. Obviously, an acceptable deposit is important, but that's secondary because no one understands this next requirement. And if you don't figure this one out, you'll end up spending weeks going back and forth with banks, being asked to hand over mountains of documents and paperwork, and spending obscene amounts of money mailing documents via courier just to be rejected. So the second requirement that you need to pay attention to is your country of residence. Now, fortunately, banks in the Isle of Man do accept a wide range of countries of residence. And I'm just going to throw up a full list of countries here so you can read through these for yourself. But I do want to point out that this isn't a list from any specific bank. Instead, it's a combination of all the countries of residence that can successfully open accounts in the Isle of Man. Now, if you don't see your country of residence here, feel free to drop a comment below with your country of tax residence, and we'll let you know whether or not there's options available to you as well. Now, a few quick highlights include Canada, the United States, most of the EU, Australia, New Zealand, a lot of Africa, and even Latin America. So this is an extensive list. And frankly, being able to open from all of these different countries and regions in such a high quality banking hub is very rare. But like I said, there are three requirements that you need to meet to bank here. Deposit, which we'll talk about in a minute, residency, which we just covered, and then this third requirement, which will make the difference between opening with the best banks on the island or being rejected completely, because it ultimately determines whether a bank will want you as a customer or not. And it all comes down to your reason for banking offshore. Now, certain reasons are more widely accepted than others. For example, if you want to diversify some of your wealth for security purposes, bankers are going to get that. Now, if you want to open a multi-currency account because you spend a lot of your time in the UK or Europe, banks here will support you all day long. But if you want to bank offshore for any reasons related to taxes or skirting reporting requirements, then you will not be able to open an account here or anywhere else. Okay, so assuming you live in an acceptable country and you have an acceptable reason for wanting to bank offshore, it's time to see if you have enough money to open an account. And I think for basically anyone watching this video, the answer is going to be yes, because there's such a wide range of banking options available, including offshore retail banks, premier banks, and private banks. Now, the key to opening is selecting a bank that aligns with your goals, your deposit, and that's willing to accept your residency and reason for opening. And to help simplify this, let's throw up a chart and list the types of banks along with the deposits. So starting from the top, we have private banks. But something to keep in mind is that most of the private banks here exclusively support local structures, funds, or just operate as booking centers. So we typically suggest that clients domicile private bank accounts in more traditional private banking hubs like Switzerland, Luxembourg, or Liechtenstein instead. Now, if you open a private bank account here, you're looking at between $500,000 and $2 million as a starting deposit, depending on all the normal factors like citizenship, residency, purpose of the account, and more. Next up, we have premier banks, and this is where the Isle of Man really excels, because unlike other countries that offer premier banking, like Singapore or the UAE or even the US, you can unlock a lot of the same benefits with significantly lower deposits. I'm talking about accessing premier banking services, which normally requires between $200,000 and $300,000, with only a very reasonable deposit of between $100,000 and $125,000, and you still get all the same benefits. Lastly, we have these offshore retail banks, and these are basically the offshore banking divisions of major UK banks. Now, you're not going to be able to open with a couple $100 like you would with a retail bank in your own country, but most people can open these accounts with as little as £5,000, which is among the lowest deposits you'll find anywhere in the world for offshore banking. And on top of that, if you compare the Isle of Man to the other jurisdictions where you can open with similar deposits, you're going to find that the jurisdiction itself, the regulators, the banks, and even the bankers you're dealing with are subpar compared to what you can access in the Isle of Man. Well, even if you can make the deposit requirements for your desired bank account, you still need to know how to actually qualify. And unfortunately, in our experience, the banks here in the Isle of Man, they change their requirements quarterly. So every 3 months, sometimes even sooner, which means it can be really difficult to know which banks you qualify to open with. So we came up with a new way to check if you qualify to bank in the Isle of Man or any country you're interested in, and it's 100% free. You just click the link in the description or the pinned comment below and submit your details for a free assessment. Our team then tells you if you qualify to bank in the Isle of Man or not. And if you do, you can take the information that we provide and go and apply on your own. It's that simple. Now, assuming you do qualify, there is still one major hurdle that you need to overcome, which is actually opening the account. Fortunately, it's a pretty straightforward process, but there are a few secrets you need to be aware of, which I'll share with you in a minute. First, let's run through the account opening. Now, because this is an offshore banking hub, everyone opens remotely, and the banks have more advanced remote onboarding systems than you'll find in most countries. So step one is going to be qualifying remotely. If you decide to use our services, that means we'll pre-qualify you directly with the bank of your choosing, so you don't even have to get involved. If you're doing it on your own, you will need to complete the process with the bank, which typically involves a digital intake form. Step two is the initial call. This will be done with a relationship manager who will review all of your details, confirm you're a good fit for the bank, and basically answer any questions that you have about the account and the services that they're willing to provide. And assuming everything checks out, you'll then be asked to complete step three, which is submitting a completed application and any of the required documents. Step four is all on the bank. This is the application review. Basically, do you pass the bank's onboarding requirements or not? And if you do pass that step, you'll then be asked to send over your initial deposit, which is step 5. But like I said, there are still a lot of secrets that can impact whether or not you get to open your offshore account, even in a fast and easy jurisdiction like the Isle of Man. So I made this video exposing 27 of the biggest secrets, lessons, and rules that no one will tell you when it comes to opening offshore accounts. And if you click this, I'll tell you all about them right now.